Hello.
Hey,
How's it going? I'm
Nice to
Zoe.
meet you.
Hi, Zoe.
How you going?
Good. Come on in. Come on in.
Thank
Take
you.
a seat.
Thank you.
So,
Really
Jack and
nice
Amelia.
place.
Thank you so much. Was it a bit of a struggle to get here, or was it alright?
It wasn't too bad. It's just a bit wet out, but it's not
no.
too bad.
I
It's
know. I
not
got the
too
fire
bad.
going for us.
Thank
At
you.
least
Really nice.
Do you live locally?
Yeah, oh, we used to. We used to live in the area, but
Oh,
we've
yeah.
moved to Victoria, so
Oh,
we're coming
okay.
back for the wedding.
Okay. So I was gonna say I don't do travel.
That's it. I understand. It's a long way. It's a long way.
It's a bit of a.
Yeah.
You have to be a very special guest. So
Yeah,
I need to go
right.
there. But that's fine. So you will be marrying up here?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. Where are we?
Just outside of Berry. It's a
Oh.
little, like on our family property called
Oh, beautiful.
Just the Bun. It's really nice.
Yeah, please go ahead. Have some water.
Thanks for the water, I'm just a little bit thirsty.
All right, great. That's good. Oh, that's fine. All right, so we're going to have a bit of a chat today. Obviously, the main point is to get to know each other, see if you like me, and happy for me to marry you. If you think so, then we can go through and do paperwork and things today. But for now, I just want to get to know you better, you get to know me, have a little chat about the process of actually getting married and then submitting the certificate and things like that. So
Okay.
not formal at all.
Yeah.
Please relax.
Love that.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Good. All right. So you're getting married here. I'm assuming you're both over 18.
Yes.
Okay.
You seem correct.
Well, I don't want to impose or anything. And have either of you been married before?
No.
Ah. Okay. Easy then. So yeah, we're just going to go over a few ideas today about what you're kind of thinking about, what you want to do for the wedding. If you have clear ideas, if you don't, obviously it's all just like at the beginning of the stage. But we will also be discussing kind of the paperwork we go through and also relationship education, which is yeah, very vital, very vital. Some people feel like they don't need it, but you know, we'll talk about it later. So you're getting married up here. Do you have many guests coming?
I think.
100.
Yeah.
Well,
I think around 100.
okay, so not too big. It's a nice.
Yeah.
Nice
It's a
number.
ballpark. It's everyone that we want invited.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's like going to make for a good party.
Okay,
Good party's nice.
Okay. And have you got the dress yet? You got.
Yes, do have the dress. We don't
Okay.
have your suits yet. But we've done my dress and my bridesmaid's dress. Yeah, so
Very
we're traveling.
organized.
Yeah, I think we're traveling pretty well. I think we
Yeah.
just had a clear vision. So.
Yeah. Okay. And how far away is the wedding?
April next year.
Oh, okay. So you got plenty of time.
Yeah.
The least amount of we submit a notice of intent to marriage that takes about a month to become
Okay.
active. So we've got plenty of time. So that's good. So I'm gonna just show you. So I usually I write the ceremony myself. If you prefer to have a really specific concept, like maybe you want it really quite minimal, or you do want maybe a lot of poetry reading or specific components, like it's really customizable, so you can do really whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
There are specific
Okay.
legal components that I obviously
Certain
have to
sayings
say. Yeah,
and-
exactly.
yeah,
And there's
okay.
certain vows that you have to say.
Yeah.
But these are just some concept paragraphs.
Okay.
So I'm actually going to give this to you and have you take this home so you can read over it together. Obviously we don't want to do that now, it might be a bit awkward and quiet. So there's heaps of examples in there. Just go through, have a read, see what's like the most you. You can highlight these, and like you don't have to do this exact script. You can always be like, oh, we like part 1 of this section, but like part 2 of this. And so it really is customizable. It's completely up to you. Did you have any concepts so far of anything that you want to do in the ceremony that might be a little bit, I don't know, interesting, different, or?
Not really.
No,
So,
no.
I don't think
We're
so.
very
We haven't
vanilla.
really, we haven't fully discussed that. Just like again,
Yeah.
just keep it light-hearted.
Okay. Do you mind
yeah.
if I make a few?
No, not at all.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're not looking at doing any readings.
Okay.
Neither of us are religious people, so we're not going down that line of thing. But whether we do a nice poem, but yeah, definitely like a light-hearted, easygoing
Okay.
type thing.
Yeah,
Anything
that's
else?
interesting.
No,
Yeah.
very
So
casual.
okay, so you want to quite bouncy and light. and
Yeah,
stuff
I
like
think
that.
so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to recommend for that is usually to keep a ceremony like quite spontaneous and light, because we don't do a rehearsal. Because when you do a rehearsal, it feels a little bit scripted.
Yeah. Okay.
So like your party and things like that, when we do a rehearsal, everyone feels like they've got to be on cue.
Yeah.
Whereas when it's just spontaneous on the day, it's really kind of like light and giggly
how you
and-
react in the
It's,
moment.
it's just chill. So
Okay.
that's usually what we recommend. Obviously, if you're not comfortable with that, we can of course do a rehearsal.
Yeah.
But I just find it comes really naturally. Like it's just a really natural process if we don't do a rehearsal.
Okay. Yeah.
Obviously, you can make that decision later. You have a lot of time.
Yeah.
And quite often, it's not something that people really think about when they're planning a wedding. It's not they don't usually think about, well, what are we going to do for the ceremony?
Yeah.
I think quite a lot of people assume that the celebrant's got that covered, and most of the time they are, but it really is a collaboration between both of us. So that's why I'm giving you specific scripts that I usually use, but ultimately you get to choose exactly what you want.
Okay.
Which also includes like kind of placement of where you're standing and things like that. So if you have a specific concept, like for example, like a lot of couples won't want me in the photo, which I completely agree with. I don't really want to be in the middle of your moment.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, I stand to the side, or I stand with the party.
Yeah.
It's completely up to you. I don't have to be specifically close to you. I need to be about at least 10 meters.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just like a
bit
voice
distorted.
coming from somewhere. Yeah. So I do need to be nearby because I do also need to do a momentum where I announce to everyone that I am an officiated celebrant of Australia, that I'm here to marry you, and that they are the witnesses. So they do need to see me, but I don't have to be right in the middle of it. You have a lot of choice on where you want me to stand or your party to stand. That being said, you don't have to stand with your party. You can be completely up, by yourselves. Did you have any kind of thoughts of that so far, of how you would like to stand?
I think we had thought about having bridesmaids and grooms, and so when I come down, Jack will be it's our ceremony will be up on like a little raised platform, and so we're thinking having everyone sort of on the lower level, and as I come down, Jack would shake my father's hand, my mum, bridesmaids, so on and so on, and then he and I hold hands and take a step up onto the platform as a beginning of the ceremony and as a beginning of us stepping into our marriage life together.
Sweet, that's so nice.
Yeah.
So you will have someone giving you away?
Yes, my parents.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lovely. Okay, great. Fantastic. Okay, so you seem pretty on top of it. Obviously, with the more specifics of the vows and things like that, that doesn't need to be done straight away. Obviously, you have a lot to organise so far. I usually recommend try and get your vows done at least a month before the wedding. So that's mainly just so if there's any last minute changes, any kind of alterations, we do have a nice space of time to fix those up.
Okay.
Also, it makes you guys organized, makes me feel organized for the day as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, it is very traditional that the other person in the couple doesn't hear the other person's vows. That's not you don't have to do it that way, but it is traditional that way, if you get what I mean. So you won't hear Jack's won't hear yours until the actual moment that you're married. Right. So I will have to get you to email them separately to me. But apart from that, it is really loose. You don't have to say too much or too little. There is a specific line you do have to say, but obviously I will guide you through that, which is, do you take your partner's hand in marriage? But also I guide you through that. I mean, a lot of people choose to do personal vows because it's a very personal moment, but you don't have to. So we have a lot of options for you, but please, there's absolutely no rush in it. It's good to just obviously book someone in, but the actual process of going to your wedding, you can really take some time with that. I know that there's flowers, the location, catering, that's all the big parts that you have to consider. So we'll get down to this a little bit later. And I always check in with people as well. If I haven't heard from you for a while, I'll have a little check in, see how you're doing. Not to overwhelm you, but just to make sure that you're not
Keep
rushing
on
the
track.
process. Yeah,
Yeah.
if we get to like the month before and you're a bit stressed and you're not ready to write your vows, that's
Yep.
also another reason why I do leave a month. So you can take a week and
Yeah.
then wait till you have kind of a moment and then we can handle it
Yeah.
later on.
Okay.
Blah, 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 blah. So the actual wedding itself, obviously I will be there before you, before both. Oh, I'll probably arrive around the same time as you, introduce myself to your party, then I introduce myself to the photographer, your musicians, blah, 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 so we all are on the same page.
Yep.
So that I know specifically for the bride, they can be a little bit nervous waiting in the car, making sure that everything's going smoothly. Just know that I would be there. For a lot of brides and grooms can get a little bit nervous about like how the whole process is going to go. So just know that I will be there, and all of your service providers that you've hired will all be on the same page. We'll all be organised and on top of it. Do you have a coordinator as well?
Yeah, we have it on the day coordinator.
Fantastic. Okay, well then it'll go really smoothly. Then she'll group us all and we'll have like a big chat and we'll all be on the same page, which is great. So obviously I will be there. I'll be setting up my materials that I need. The only thing that I will request from you is that we do need a register signing table. So that's so after you're married, we can sit down for a second, you can sign a certificate with your witnesses, and I can sign it as well. Just gives you a moment to actually get that process done, because we need to do it immediately after you get married. So if that's something that isn't arrangeable in your location, I can obviously accommodate you. I can bring my own table and chairs, that's fine. It's just a little setup one, but if there's already one already there, obviously it makes it a little bit easier. But that's something that we can clarify later when things are more confirmed.
Okay.
Catch up with you later.
Yep.
Okay, so the actual process of the wedding. So obviously everyone's already there. You then walk down the aisle. You might have a bit of a giggle with each other. We'll calm down a little bit. Then I will welcome everyone. We would have, if it's something that you're interested in, quite often couples have a little introduction into the couple. So they're like, you know, we welcome you here. I always do a welcome to country, which is very important to me. I always do it. It's mandatory. So if there's an issue with that, that's me. Just talk to you about
Just say, I also do a welcome to country and then move on.
Okay. I'll put this. No, it's inconsistent. I will always do a welcome to country. That's very important. And then we'll go through the. So I always do a welcome to country. That's very important. And then we will have a little chat about maybe you and your relationship, how you met, just as a nice little romantic moment. Everyone gets kind of involved then as well, gets a bit invested in the wedding.
Yeah.
And then we go through your vows. If that is something that you want to do, we do obviously have that mandatory piece that we have to say, but you can then say your speaking vows. I can have those prepared for you.
Yep.
So if you don't want your bridesmaids or your groomsmen holding them, I can have them prepared for you and hand them to you. So it's a very smooth process. Next then is the giving away. So obviously that's something that we're going to arrange with your parents. It's not mandatory at all, but you know, it is quite common to do. Then another traditional component is the giving away. So if either the parents want to give away either of their children, that's a component to consider as well. That's obviously also in this outline. So anything that I say today and you forget about, don't worry, it's in this outline.
Okay.
Then we get into our vows, which is probably, you know, the most special kind of moment of the entire process. You get to chat about your partner and etc. Are you both good at public speaking?
No.
Would you say?
Try.
No, you're a bit nervous about it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm fine. I don't have an issue,
Okay.
but yeah, you don't like it.
No, I hate it, but that's alright.
Yeah, it's quite often
That's
It's
alright.
only 100 people.
Yeah.
But you do know them all, so it's a different kind of public speaking to then when you speak to a crowd you don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Should be right.
Well, it can be confronting, especially because it is everyone that you know, and it is your partner's family as well. But when you're actually saying the vows, you're just looking at your partner. Like, obviously, everyone's there, but you kind of zone out a little bit, and it's just you and your partner in that moment. We'll have you facing each other, so if you do get scared, you know that you're just talking to them. Like you're just talking to Jack. Obviously, I'm listening. But that can be, I know it can be really
It can be
daunting.
daunting.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
quite often, don't worry.
Okay.
You'll be fine. You'll get through it. Okay, and then are you having rings at the ceremony?
Yeah.
Cool,
Yep.
fantastic. And who will be looking after the rings?
Probably the best man.
Okay, fantastic. We'll have that covered. Okay, great. So we can incorporate that into that as well. Yes, there's a section there as well. Right, so after the rings, we then get to announce your marriage. So whether that's, you know, I now declare you husband and wife, you may kiss the bride, or if that's, you know, please celebrate Mr. and Mrs. Shank.
Yeah.
It's completely up to you. It doesn't need to be those traditionals. And then you get to do a kiss. So some
Okay.
people might not do a kiss. They might be a little bit embarrassed in front of their family. But if you're happy to do it, do you think you are?
Oh yeah, we'll do a kiss.
You do a
So
kiss.
sorry, we do. So this is after we've signed the paperwork, right?
No, we'll do the paperwork after this.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Right.
So you will go through the vows. You'll say the mandatory things as we're
Yeah.
saying now. Amelia, do you now take Jack to be your
Yeah.
legitimate husband? And vice versa. And then as soon as you do a kiss, you walk down the aisle, and then we go do your paperwork. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So we will do the kiss. I do recommend you practice it. Surprisingly enough, some people might even film it. Just because it,
Yeah, you don't want
in
to
the
build
moment-
hands.
Yeah, in the moment
Yeah.
it can be a little bit of an awkward moment, and also obviously it's going to get a photo taken.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you want your specific side, you know, you don't have to, but it's always a recommendation to plan ahead if it's something that you're concerned about. Is there any questions so far, apart from you specifying your paperwork?
So we're legally married. I thought that we were legally married once we signed documentation to prove that.
It's all within the same process. So it's
okay.
basically, we declare you married, then you sign, then you are.
Okay.
So you can't do the paperwork without saying the vows, you can't
Yep.
say the vows without doing the paperwork. It's all
Okay.
in conjunction with each other.
Okay. So
Okay.
could you, as a celebrant, announce us as Mr. and Mrs. Shank after we've done the paperwork?
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. Yeah, because that will kind of bring people back up and the momentum and everything.
Yeah,
and stuff.
I've been
yeah.
at a wedding where they announced it, and so then people thought that was it, and then they went did the paperwork, and then they came back, and then they announced it again. So it was like,
Oh,
you don't know
okay.
which one to celebrate.
Okay. Well, we can make two different phrases. So
Okay.
maybe the first one is, now, you know, I now declare you husband and wife.
Yeah.
And then the second one might be now, please
Congratulations.
stand up and congratulate.
Yeah.
Mr. and Mrs. Shank.
It's a hard one.
So we can really break that down.
Yeah.
If it is like a moment that you recognise and you're like, oh, that happened at my wedding,
Yeah.
we can definitely sort that through once we go through the process of finalising this.
Okay, sure.
Okay. So we will now go through some government paperwork. So the first thing that we need to do is the notice of intent to marry. Basically, this gets lodged to the birth, deaths, and marriages, just notifying that you have an intent to marry. You then need to get married within 18 months of submitting
Okay.
this, which you are, so that's
Yeah.
fine. So we will submit that.
Mm-hmm.
So we just need to go through a few details. Are you happy to do that now?
Yep.
Okay, fantastic. Okay. Okay. Also, under the Section 42 of the Marriage Act, your information will be all confidential. Doesn't matter if it's your phone number, your first and last name. It's all confidential with me, as I have a privacy note. And it's my responsibility to make sure that none of your personal information, gets leaked, anything like that. So just note that anything that you write in here, it stays between us. Okay?
Yep,
Sure.
No worries.
Okay, so let's do this. Okay, so start with person one. Start with the bride. So you got family name.
Wife.
Can you spell that for me, please?
Yeah, it's WYETH.
Yes. Great. And your given names.
Amelia May.
Lovely. And you identify as female. And your usual occupation?
Retail.
Retail. And your usual place of residence?
Like full address?
Yes, please.
91 Webster Street in Alexandra.
And that's in Victoria.
Yep.
And the postcode for that?
3714.
3714. Beautiful. Okay, and you have never been married before, widowed, no divorce pending. Okay, fantastic. And your birthplace?
Windsor.
Windsor.
New South Wales.
And your date of birth?
31st of March 93.
Great. And either of you related to one another?
Not that we know.
Maybe you don't want to. All right, now, Jack.
Yep.
Is that J-A-C-K?
Yep.
Beautiful. And do you have any other given names?
Yeah, middle name Henry.
Henry. Okay, and how do I spell your last name, sorry?
S-C-H-E-N-K.
Yes. E-N-K. Great. And you identify as
Yeah, male.
male? And your occupation, please?
Farmer.
Farmer. Right. And your usual place of residence, is that also
Yeah, the
91
same
Webster?
one. Yep.
Okay, great. And you've never been fully married before? Great. And your birthplace?
Melbourne.
Obviously that's Victoria.
Yep.
Date of birth, please.
7th of the 9th, 94.
Right. Not related. Okay, so. Alright, so now we just need to go through your parents' names. So your first parents, your mother?
Nicola.
Nicola?
And then surname wife.
Yes. And your. Sorry. And parent two?
Glenn.
Glenn?
Glyn.
Wife
Wife,
as well,
yeah.
yeah. And full address of your mother.
152
Mm-hmm.
Croziers Road in Jaspers Bush.
Is that New South Wales?
Yep.
Do you know the postcode of that one?
2535.
And the same for your father?
Yeah.
And your mother, where was she born through birth?
England.
England?
Yep.
And your father?
South Africa.
Hmm. So, Jack, your first parent.
Yeah, Lena.
Yeah?
L-E-N-N-A.
Beautiful. Last name?
Schenk. S-C-H-E-N-K.
Okay. And your second parent?
Warren.
Warren?
W-A-R-R-E-N.
Okay.
Same
and-
last name.
Great. Alright. And do they live together on the same address?
Yeah, 172
Yes.
Cochrane Street. C-O-C-H-R-A-N-E. Brighton,
Alright.
Victoria.
Okay. Do you happen to know the...
Yeah, 3186.
Great. And the country of birth of your mother?
Australia.
Australia. And of your father?
Australia.
Alright. Easy. I'm just going to date it. Today is the 27th of the 8th. It's from my birthday. 2022. Vacation work at Berry. New South Wales. That's lovely. So, lovely. Okay, so now I do need to get you to sign this. Just letting you know that this is a legal document, so by signing it you are declaring that all of this information is correct. So I need you to read through this, and then also read through the first page. Just make sure that all your details are correct. When confirmed, go ahead and sign it just here for you, Amelia, with your date. And here for you, Jack, date as well, please. Thank you. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Thank you. All right. And okay, lovely. So I will hold on to this until after the wedding.
Yep.
After we do all the ceremony, we go sit down at that little table. We will then fill out the rest of this form,
Right.
as well as your marriage certificates.
Yep.
Which
Okay.
we will get into it now, actually. So, this is our next piece of paperwork, which we will go ahead and fill out now.
Yep.
So I'm going to go ahead and fill it out. I mean, I can copy a lot of this information, but I like to do this just before you, just so you know that like the information I'm copying is correct. And that, I'm not popping anything in there. It's the first person, family name is Wyeth. Bride. Detail. And this is just so when we, after the wedding, you don't have to sit here for a long time. You don't have to sit at that table for a long time filling this
Yeah,
in. We fill
okay.
this in, but you will actually sign it officially on the
On
and you will
the
also
day.
sign this one as well.
Okay, sure.
Right, so just bear with me a minute. I'm just
Mhm.
going to sign these. Why don't you two have a little read over that,
Mm-hmm.
just so you can get to know the kind of things that I
Okay.
usually do in my ceremonies.
Yeah.
Any questions?
Yeah. All good.
Okay, so I'm not going to say where the marriage was solemnized yet, just because you still have a bit of space of time. So if that was to change or anything like that, we will say. Right, and the rest we fill out on the day. So I will keep those very safe with me. So this is also this official certificate of marriage. So this one you will need to get your witnesses to sign as well. Do you have any in mind?
Yeah, best man.
Best man?
Bridesmaid.
Okay. Too easy, and they're both over 18?
Yeah.
Okay, great. That's all they really need is their kind of quota. That's fine. So once that's officially done, you've been married, you get to go off and party. I will then submit this to birth deaths and marriages,
Yep.
and then you will be officially married. Very exciting. I know. And then you get your official certificates. Okay, so next component we will get to go over is my admin and my fees, which obviously is a component. So this is just a little outline of what I entail in my fees. Obviously it is customizable, as I can be as involved or uninvolved in your wedding if you need. So for
Okay.
example, I do include their writing your ceremony for you, but if you decide to write it yourself and then I go through and edit it and include the legal components that I need to, which is the vows, specific things that you need to say, the legal components. You can always write it yourself and I can just ensure that those sections are
part of it.
Okay.
Or you can just describe to me in essence what you like and how you'd like it to sound during the day. I can send you drafts, you can approve it. So that obviously is an additional service because that's billable. That obviously is an additional service.
Okay.
So these are just the outlines. You don't have to finalize this today.
Yep.
But you did already pay your deposit over the phone, and so I'm just going to give you my receipt of deposit for you to keep.
Thank you.
Also on there is my refund policy. Also any details, if anything was to happen on the day, if I were to get sick or stuck in traffic or anything like that, if I couldn't make it to a wedding, I always have a backup. So we
Okay.
always have someone locally in the area.
Oh, my
Someone locally in the area that can always jump in for me
Okay.
if worse comes to worse. Obviously, I'm dedicated to you, so I will do my absolute best to be there. But stuff
Sometimes
happens. It
yeah.
happens.
Yeah.
So feel free to read this when you get home, as well as this, and take your time. But if you are happy with me and you're ready to go ahead, we can go ahead and sign it now. But it is totally up to you. Giving you a deposit. So the next thing that I do need to discuss with you, which is mandatory for me to do as a celebrant, is discuss relationship education. So this is something that we always recommend because obviously we want relationships after the wedding to stay healthy and cultivated. We don't want any unnecessary divorces, and relationship education can be really beneficial in that way. So it can be as little as, some people do just a day course where they get to go, they meet other couples, you get to discuss things in your relationship that maybe don't come up naturally, and you get to kind of invest that with your partner. Or there is even programs that go for weeks for those people that are really dedicated to that specific type of education. It's obviously not mandatory, but it is mandatory that I give you this little brochure. So it's called Happily Ever After, Before and After. This is very sweet. So it goes through in there. It includes the kinds of relationship education that I have discussed, potential conflicts, conflict resolution, things that you might like to discuss before you do officially get married. So I do need you to take one of those each. I will sign the back with the date, and I will also get you to sign them as well, just to confirm that we have been over that, because it's very important. Alright, so that's each of yours. I'll just get you to sign the back, and just the date as well. Right, so obviously you get one each, for your own personal reading. And then I also will provide you, this is my pack of services in the area that I highly recommend. Obviously, I do include Australian-wide because I know obviously you live in Victoria. But, so this is psychologists, any kind of relationship providers, education, just free and also paid support.
Okay.
Both. Just to have as a resource, just because it's important.
Yeah.
So you get to take all of that home with you. Now, is there any potential issues that you're concerned about for the wedding? Do you have any maybe possibly rowdy family members that you're concerned about having there?
No.
Any, it comes up, it's quite often.
Oh,
we
is
have
it?
that,
Right, okay.
that sometimes people have a beloved uncle, but maybe he's not too great with booze, and they can be a little bit concerned about that, and so we can always incorporate things into the ceremony, like we can ask everyone to be quiet and respectful, as this is quite a intimate moment. Yeah, exactly. So it is always something that we can always try and prevent. If there is anything that comes to mind, or even if you don't think of it now and you think of it later, feel free to message me.
Yeah.
You have all my contact information. But if
Okay.
you just have any issues, for example, if it rains, do you have a backup plan? If it's outdoors, or you have a backup plan?
Yeah, we've got a veranda.
Veranda, beautiful.
And I'd say that, I don't know if it's an issue, but we want to do like an unplugged ceremony, so whether that can be
Oh, okay.
made.
Absolutely, that's very important. Okay, that's lovely. So I'll give you a few drafts on what I think would be would be ideal to say for that.
Yep.
Because yeah, you want to say it in a way that's like
Respectful.
respectful,
but
not
firm.
everyone sort of fun.
Yeah.
But like, you know,
Yep.
this is a moment in life that doesn't need to be captured. We have a photographer already. You can
Yeah,
just relax
yeah.
and be involved in the moment. Okay. I love that. Okay, beautiful. I'll pop that in. Alright, and as I'm drafting things up, you just go by Amelia and Jack. Yeah? No new things that you prefer instead? No?
No?
Shark?
Huh?
Not shark?
Shark? Do you want Sharky?
Just Jack.
Just Jack.
Just Jack.
Just Jack. Obviously, when we say the vowels and I say, do you, Jack, you know, we then have to
Say full
say,
names.
say the full names. Yeah, we can't do
So
anything
Shark,
else for that.
yeah.
But yeah, if there was a
Okay.
name that you prefer. Okay. And do you know yet if you're taking each other's names or keeping your own?
Yeah, I think we're taking my surname.
How nice.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
that's lovely.
Can't wait to be a wife. Yep.
Okay, great. That's really lovely. Fantastic. So we've gone over tables and chairs. And do you have a photographer booked
Yeah.
already?
Yep.
Oh, who's that?
Matt.
Matt?
Isn't that his name?
Do you know his like Instagram handle or
Oh, yeah, I just see
have a yeah, have a look up? Do you know your musician? Do you have a musician?
Yeah, Matt Webster, that's his name.
Matt Webster's the
Yep.
photographer?
Yeah.
Okay. Great. And do you have music planned already?
Yeah, we have a
Yep,
DJ.
We've got a DJ.
DJ.
Yep.
Okay, beautiful. So I will just mention, obviously we will be, if you do decide that you want poems or lyrics recited or anything like that in the ceremony, there is an issue with copyright.
Okay.
Not so much with music, because generally music isn't copyrighted because, you know, it's very hard to copyright
Yeah,
music.
yeah,
So
yeah.
generally it's not an issue. When it does come to copywriting, all right. Now, do you have a photographer already booked?
Yep.
All right. And who's that?
Thomas Stewart.
Stuart. Oh, he's really good.
Oh, good.
Yeah. All right. And a DJ or music or band?
Yeah, DJ.
And who's that?
What was his name?
It's through Platinum Entertainment.
Platinum Entertainment. Okay. Great. Lovely. And I have also incorporated like my recommended services. So if you haven't already booked catering or flowers or anything, my recommendations are in there as well. Finally, I just wanted to say, you know, if you do decide that, you know, we're not the right fit, I will take that in no offense whatsoever. Obviously, this is a really important day to you. So,
Okay.
you know, you can, you know, if you decide later to go with someone else, it's totally fine. This is not binding because it won't be submitted until after the wedding, so please don't worry about that.
Okay.
But I completely understand it's a very personal thing to
Yeah.
choose. Also, with that in mind, when it comes to organising this ceremony, I really want you to include as much as yourselves as you want or as you like. Don't feel like you have to do anything traditional or the typical kind of ways that things done.
Yep.
Obviously, when I receive a draft of it, I'll make sure that everything that we do in there is legal and that the legal components are included. But please feel free to do anything that suits you both. It doesn't need to be
This
the
way or
traditional
that
stuff.
way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Okay,
it can
sure.
be totally up to you.
Yep.
Alright, so once you're officially done, ceremony's over, obviously then I leave. If you're in the middle of the moment, I'm not going to come and interrupt it. You know, if you have a free moment, obviously I will say goodbye, but please don't feel obligated to find me and say goodbye like that. I really want you to enjoy the moment that you're experiencing after that, so don't
Okay.
worry.
Cool.
But if there's any other questions that you have for me, please let me know.
No?
Anything you can say.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you have all my contact information, it's also in there again if you need it.
Yeah.
So please just call, message, email, whatever time, you know, whenever
Okay.
you need it,
Yeah.
definitely can. But until then, I will give you some time to think that over. I might check in maybe a month or so and see if you've made any decisions.
Yeah.
But until then, good luck with the rest of your planning.
Thank you. Yeah.
We'll talk to you next time.
Yeah. Perfect. All right.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Oh, thanks.
Thanks for your time.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
So nice to meet you.
Lovely to meet you too.
Thank you. Alright, so nice
Nice
to
to
meet
meet
you.
you.
I'll talk
Thank
to you
you.
soon.
Yeah, okay,
Alright.
thank you again.
Drive safe.
Bye.
See you later. Bye.